I guess we will now begin, and just a reminder, we have Councilman Marks and Councilman Crandall with us via the internet. So why don't we start with page 1, Bill 53-23, Councilman Marks.
Thank you all very much, and I'm sorry I'm not there today. I have a back-to-school night, and I appreciate you accommodating me. This legislation repeals the provisions of Bills 2122 and 7522 that allow for apartments to be built east of White Marsh Mall. Mr. Chairman and colleagues, I did not represent the White Marsh Town Center until December of last year. Immediately upon my election, I created a task force to develop a vision for this area, and that blueprint will be unveiled at a community meeting on September 26th. We recognize that mixed-use development has its place in a thriving White Marsh Town Center. We also recognize the consequences of Bills 2122 and 7522. Those pieces of legislation open the floodgates for 1,000 additional apartments to be proposed at 3 different locations. Today, even before a single shovel is put on the ground, Overley High School is at 112% capacity. You may hear from some today that will characterize this bill as a draconian measure. What I think needs to be acknowledged is the fact that this bill allows any project that has reached a reasonable point in the review process to continue through that process. What we are saying is that projects that have not had a community input meeting yet will no longer take advantage of the regulations that changed last year. That is a very early point in the development review process. You may also hear talk about changing the rules, but it would remind everyone that it was the County Council that changed the rules in the first place to accommodate apartments. I believe that last year we probably should have placed a cap on the number of apartments allowed in this area. So in short, my bill rolls back the very generous standards that the Council granted last fall, but in a very reasonable and moderate way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Any questions or comments from the members? Hearing none, I believe we have a few speakers. And I guess we will start with the first speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Our first speaker is Andrew Lingelbach. Mr. Lingelbach, you are on as a panelist, and you may begin your testimony.
Thank you very much. Council, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Marvelous.
Yes, Andrew.
Thank you very much for this opportunity today. I appreciate what it is that you do and the fact that it gives us citizens an opportunity to engage what goes on in our communities. As previously stated, my name is Andrew Lingelbach. I am a lifelong resident of the White Marsh area, as well as a seat holder on the board of directors for the South Perry Hall Boulevard Improvement Association. I'm here in support of Bill 5223, as I see its value in not only protecting the current status of White Marsh, but also its reasonable and future development. On July 12th, I had a guest commentary published in the Baltimore Sun where I discussed some of my concerns with the upcoming development in the White Marsh Town Center area. Since 2020, there have been a completed development, an apartment complex, an additional 750 or so development of houses and mixed-use family units being currently constructed, an apartment complex planned for the Sears Mall that is near the finalization of its proposal, and yet another one had been proposed on the White Marsh Avenue in White Marsh. I wish the Baltimore Sun was actually a satire paper, because 13 days after my article had been published, yet another complex had been proposed in that same 1 square mile radius. My concerns as a citizen of the area is not necessarily in whether or not development is right or wrong, but rather the fact that the community itself, both its public services, whether it be fire or public safety, the schools, which Councilman Marks had mentioned, are already at or above capacity, and the emergency room, Franklin Square, that would be servicing this area is already one of the most busy one in the state of Maryland. My concern is that this development has come too quickly and too rapidly, And I believe that Bill 5223 appropriately will regulate when and how development goes in. And with that, I thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Our next speaker is Catherine Ward. Ms. Ward, you are on as a panelist, and you may begin your testimony.
Okay. Andrew stole some of my thunder. I want to first of all say thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak in favor of Bill 5223. As you know, my name is Catherine Ward. I'm on the South Perry Hall Boulevard Improvement Association along with Andrew, and I'm here to represent the community as well as myself. Our community is concerned at this point because the county's, we don't feel, has considered the impact of the numerous developments which have already been approved. Andrew touched on some of those, but I'm still going to recap them. At the Avenue Grand, there are 324 apartments that currently exist. The Sears property is slated for 500 apartments. The Avenue at White Marsh is 200 additional apartments. We had a presentation at our last association meeting regarding a proposal from Bainbridge for 300. If you total just the apartments, that's 1,324 apartments. In addition to the villages, which consists of 738 dwellings, and that has been underway now for a few years. That, when completed, will, it's projected to have 2,000 residents. If all are approved, this will add thousands of new residents to our area. And as Andrew has stated, to our already impacted traffic areas, which are congested, the overcrowded schools, the excessive wait times at hospitals, and the understaffed police and fire. We think as a community, this is a recipe for disaster. To further comment on one of the members of our association is retired fire department, and he has kind of a unique perspective on things. He knows what is currently still taking place. He states that it's not uncommon for medics to transport a patient from Fullerton to Pikesville and vice versa. And this is directly due to staffing issues and other issues at Franklin Square Hospital. That is one of the busiest in our state. There is definitely a need for another hospital in Eastern Baltimore County. The road systems also, and I'm just going to comment on White Marsh 43 and Honeygo, is now in its third attempt at trying to manage existing traffic. Baltimore County and the state need to improve other intersections to lessen the impact to the mall area, and that's what is being developed. Our schools are overcrowded, and although there is a new school, a new middle school being built at King Avenue, Rosedale Middle will be closed at the time that the new middle school is put in place. So it's really not a gain. In summary, the county has failed, we feel, to address the infrastructure necessary to accommodate the additional population, traffic, and all the needs of the community. And we need to really be looking ahead, not just a couple years, but at least 10 or 20 years. I urge you to support Councilman Marks' Bill 5223. I thank you for your attention and your consideration.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ward. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Our next speaker is Greg Kavanaugh, and Mr. Kavanaugh is here in person.
Mr. Kavanaugh? Yes, please.
Good evening. My name is Greg Kavanaugh with the Bainbridge Companies. We are the contract purchaser for 8010 Corporate Drive and 8020 Sandpiper Circle, two properties located in White Marsh south of the mall. We are currently processing plans to redevelop an existing vacant office park with a 330-unit Class A apartment community. Both buildings on the property were previously occupied by MedStar Health, but have remained completely vacant since April of last year. We were encouraged by the passing of Bill 2122 in May of last year, as it thoughtfully and strategically unlocked the potential for a limited number of ML zone projects for residential development within the vicinity of the White Marsh Town Center. We therefore pursued our site and have been under contract since December of last year. Our concept plan was filed on July 14th of this year. Our concept plan conference was held on August 22nd, and we've invested nearly a year of our time and hundreds of thousands of dollars into this project, all based on the legislation passed just last year, which permits our proposed project by right. Bainbridge is committed to being good stakeholders in the community, and we have met with Councilman Marks multiple times since March of 23 to discuss our project. From there, we've continued to engage with the public, most recently voluntarily meeting with the South Perry Hall Boulevard Improvement Association, as you heard, on September 5th. Through those conversations, concerns were raised. However, the concerns expressed had less to do with our proposed residential use in and of itself, but rather the impact that new development may have on community resources and infrastructure. In fact, we received feedback that our particular project would be preferred relative to other recently proposed projects in the same area. We're set to have our community impact meeting on the 27th of September in just 2 weeks. Look forward to continuing to engage with the community then. The introduction of Bill 5223 is frankly tremendously unfair to us, and I think it sends a negative signal to anyone interested in investing in Baltimore County and denies the community input on a project which offers substantial benefits. Bill 5223 is particularly difficult to swallow in light of the fact that it provides an exemption for another project which submitted its concept plan only weeks before ours. Developers are used to taking risks, but the fairness of the process feels especially questionable here, when the rules suddenly change in a way that unequally affects one project over another, especially after the financial and time investment that we've already made. There's a housing shortage in Baltimore County, and our project is the epitome of responsible development and good planning principles. This isn't greenfield development or high-density development amid a low single-family density neighborhood. This is smart growth, and it's repurposing an undesirable use in a location where it's critical to maintain the viability and success into the future in and around the White Marsh Town Center. White Marsh Mall, the Avenue, surrounding small business community, they'll all benefit from more residents and in turn, consumers and employees in close walkable proximity. There's a perception that development is going unchecked in White Marsh, but the existing regulations governing residential uses in the ML zone already provide limitations on the amount of land that can be developed as residential. We understand the need to manage growth, but the development process provides for community input and restricts growth, which would unduly burden public services. We seek the opportunity for our project to just be fairly considered throughout the development process and respectfully request Bill 5223 to be rescinded or amended to permit our project to continue to proceed through the process. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Next speaker is Pat Keller. Mr. Keller, you are on as a panelist. You may unmute yourself and begin your testimony.
Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council, good afternoon. My name is Pat Keller. I'm president of the Perry Hall Improvement Association and also the task force leader for the project that the councilman mentioned on the White Marsh Town Center project. I am testifying in favor of Bill 5223, which would restrict or rescind residential uses in the ML zone surrounding the mall area, the White Marsh Mall area. As you have heard from prior testimony, there are already within literally walking distance of this area, close to 2,000 projects that are either approved or in the process of being developed. I'm not going to go into each one of those in particular, but you can see it's quite substantial in nature. There's also an issue that the council should probably be concerned about in cases like this where legislation, not this particular legislation that rescinds it, but the prior legislation that allowed it, when you talk about valuable ML manufacturing employment land going to other uses. And I think that's something that we really haven't discussed within the context of this legislation. And that's why there was a process set up, the plan unit development process, which gives someone in the ML zone or the chance to look at and apply for residential uses, but under the scrutiny of the county agencies, including the Department, of Economic Development. The work that the task force has done has been fairly conclusive and complete. And as the council mentioned, we're going to be having a public hearing to go through this on the 26th. But I would urge you to please support this bill and just restore the equilibrium to the ML zone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Keller. Appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Certainly, Mr. Chair, our final speaker this evening is Jennifer Bussey, and Ms. Bussey is here in person.
Ms. Bussey, how are you?
Thank you. Thank you, Chair and members of the council. Jennifer Bussey, Rosenberg Martin, here on behalf of Mr. Kavanaugh, who you just heard spoke, and Bainbridge. I will be very brief. A few comments. First of all, it was a pleasure to meet with the South Perry Hall Association on the 5th. Wonderful group, and I know Bainbridge really appreciated the opportunity and appreciate the councilman giving us the chance to continue with the plans to have that meeting. Couple comments I heard tonight. I wanted to read, give you some insight on. Number one, Mr. Keller just mentioned the ML zone land. Yes, I know there's always been a sensitivity to losing manufacturing land. However, I'd like to point out that the property here that is zoned ML is not utilized for manufacturing. It's not, jobs that are typical of the ML zone. In fact, this is really office park. So that's a little bit different than what you typically hear with regard to the sensitivity to uses in the ML zone. One other comment that was made is that the bills passed in May of 2022 kind of opened the floodgates, I think the comment was. And I just would like to point out, I know that the regulations in the zoning regs with regard to residential uses here in the ML are very complicated. I think there's probably a few places in the zoning regs where so much thought was given to how to carefully and thoughtfully craft the limits for what can go on. For example, the law currently states that only a certain amount of acres and only a certain percentage of that area can be used in this way. So for sure, there is not an opportunity for any kind of floodgates to be opened. And with regard to the comment about sensitivity to issues such as schools, for sure, that's an issue that we expect and want to have, conversations about. But I just would like to note that there are already actions underway to work on those issues. So it's not that, this is the only way to stop that. So with that, we would just like to ask that you please vote in opposition to Bill 5223. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bussey. Any questions, comments from the members?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to address the issue about community input. I did not attend the community input meetings for these projects. We usually do not, but my understanding was there was a large opposition to the projects. I did do a poll on Perry Hall Neighbors, which is a social media site, and I asked whether people would accept a senior restricted complex, whether they were against apartments in general, various options. I think there was over 600 responses, which is a pretty good sample size, and it was 75% against any additional apartments. So I think there's been pretty strong community support for what we're trying to do. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Councilman Marks, what was the count on senior-only apartments?
I think it was around 23% or so
Who what?
of the respondents
Who wanted,
who would be supportive if there was a senior restriction.
but 77% opposed it.
It was about I think it was about 75%.
Thank you.
I had a question for Councilman Marks.
Sure.
David, when, do we have any ML? I know it's all ML, but do we have any manufacturing in that area currently?
In that specific area, it's mainly all office parks. The post office is over there. Not really.
So, I mean, I understand the concern here, but what do we do with, we're going to have a lot of office parks in the next few years that are not doing well. And the question is, what are we going to do with them? Are we going to turn them back to manufacturing? Are we going to go residential or?
I mean, that's something we can discuss. You know, the master plan is before us, rezoning is coming up. You know, there are other avenues to take, and I think Pat Keller mentioned the plan unit development process could still be employed over here. All we're doing is basically giving away what I think is this large blanket provision that allows this type of development.
Okay. It just seems to me that when we propose apartments in Towson, it's always good, but anywhere else, not so much.
Well, the bill does allow some apartments to be going through. We're not stopping the projects that are already proceeding.
Any additional questions or comments from the members? I mean, clearly, to your point, Councilman Otel, there's a lot of pressure and demands on after people discovered that they are working from home. A lot of businesses have embraced it. Others have not so much, but the reality is where people have embraced working from home, it's been putting a incredible hit on the office parks and people that have mortgages and have to pay for these parks sitting empty or are looking to do something. And whether we should turn it all into apartments or homes is a question we all can discuss, but I don't think it's a good idea if we were to do them all, because at some point we want to have room for manufacturing, room for office when and if this ever turns around. So it's very good questions. Any additional questions or comments from the members? Okay, thank you very much.
You know,
Sure. We'll move on to miscellaneous business. Ms. Amy Trexler, Ms. Mante. Page 41 and 47. Resolution 2823 first. Thank you very much. Any questions, or comments from the members? Hearing none, why don't we move on to Resolution 29-23, page 47.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I could not hear that. I don't know what it would, Councilman Crandall, were you able to hear that?
No, David, I was just about to say the same thing.
It's on.
The
Is
sound
that now?
went off on the
Okay.
feed,
So I'll
yeah.
start over. You want me to read it?
Okay, Ms.
Well,
Mantei, can you
actually,
give it?
Ms. Manti, I can hear you now.
I can hear you
Okay.
now as well. I mean, what were you speaking about?
Do you want me just to read it over again, Chairman?
Yeah, or abbreviate as best you can. It wasn't that long. You can read it again. Pull the mic a little closer.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Manti, we have it in front of us, so
Yeah, we have it. We have the,
you can give us a quick synopsis. That's fine.
All right, so this is a resolution, the Department of Planning requests the county council to approve $488,108.84 in matching funds for the purchase of 4 agricultural easements on 270 acres. Total cost of the easements is $2,467,544.10, with state funds making up the difference. All 4 farms are outside the ERDL, within Tier 4 areas, and within the 2020 master plan delineated agricultural priority preservation area.
and Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I want to thank the county executive and the Department of Planning for pursuing these, in particular, the 70 acres to be preserved owned by Richardson's Farm. That is, I mean, magnificent part of the county, and I truly appreciate all their work.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. Hearing no other questions, I guess we'll move on to page 47, Resolution 29-23.
All right. The Department of Planning recommends the approval of 9 applications and the ranking of same on approximately 558 easement acres by landowners to sell an easement to the Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation FY24 easement purchase cycle. The 9 properties have 24 associated development rights that would be extinguished through the easements. The department received and reviewed 9 applications. The Baltimore County Agricultural Land Preservation Advisory Board reviewed each farm and analyzed and ranked on factors such as contribution to agricultural economy, quality of the land, soils, number of development rights, acres of contiguous protected ground, environmental benefit, and other factors. The advisory board voted on June 14th, 2023 to recommend the 9 applications. The ranking is to remain confidential until the completion of the acquisition cycle. Therefore, the resolution lists the farms in alphabetical order. Public hearing on the applications is required and requested that it is held at the work session here today.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the members? Thank you very much, Ms. Mantei. We will move on to page 2, Director Pesterfield.
Good afternoon, Councilman Jones, Chair,
afternoon.
and the councilman. On behalf of the Department of Corrections, we are requesting an amendment to contract with Sentinel Offender Services. These are necessary for the Department of Corrections to continue services with Sentinel Offender LLC. The agreement prior to current participation addendum was Advantage MA, Master Agreement 2276, and was approved by Council on 12/6 of 2010, which is a cooperative agreement using Miami-Dade's contract in the amount spent of $156,731. The county's agreement with Sentinel Services is a participating addendum to the contract 00212 with Washington State. Department of Corrections and Judiciary agreed to increase the use of home monitoring services, resulting in a significant increased usage. The original not to exceed value is insufficient, and the term needs to be extended to continue services until a new contract can be awarded.
Okay. Any questions, comments from the members? Hearing none. Thank you, Director Pesterfield.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to page 6, Director Reed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and council members. Fiscal Matter 2 is a request to approve a contract with Corporate Mailing Services to provide pre-sort mailing services and the preparation of mailing that is used by various departments such as law, housing, retirement, and budget and finance. The contract commences upon council approval and will continue for 2 years and renew automatically for 3 additional one-year periods with the option to extend the initial term or any renewal term for an additional 120 days. The estimated compensation totals $853,000 over the entire term of the contract. And this was awarded through a competitive procurement process where Corporate Mailing Services was the only bidder. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from the members? Thank you very much, Director Reed. I'll reach out to you later. I have another issue I have to talk to you about. Next, we'll move on to page 10. Ms. Stephanie Medina. Court Administrator. Guess we'll skip that item. Moving on to page 13, Ms. Thomas. It's more than that. I think so. Good afternoon.
Thank you. The administration is requesting approval of 2 contracts to acquire land and easement access spanning in total approximately 0.157 acres for $59,100 for the construction of a sidewalk along Windsor Mill Road in Gwynn Oak. Fiscal Matter 4 is a contract with Hugo Cesar Chavez Araniva for $10,267 for land totaling 0.018 acres and an easement access of 0.009 acres located at 6715 Windsor Mill Road. FM5 is a contract with Ben Irvin Markel and Joan Elizabeth Salmons, deceased, for $48,833 for land at 0.100 acres and easement access 0.030 acres located at 6737 Windsor Mill Road. The properties are zoned DR 5.5. The land acquired will be used for highway widening areas, including an area in paving. Easements will be used for drainage and utility easements or revertible slope easements necessary to retain and support the highway and/or adjacent property.
Ms. Thomas, can you direct that mic a little closer to you?
I'm sorry, sir.
There you
Is this better?
Yes, please.
Sorry. Each contract's compensation amount takes into account any adverse impacts to site improvements.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the members? Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chair. And this is an issue not for Ms. Thomas, but for Ms. Rogers. A couple of council meetings back on the same area of Windsor Mill Road, I have a constituent that owns a commercial property. And the appraisal has been, he has informed me that the appraisal for trying to acquire the right of way on his property is done at a residential rate, and his property is commercial. So he can't seem to make that work in his mind. I agree with him that we need to revisit that appraisal. And I can provide you with the address. I can do that offline to see how that might be corrected if it needs to be corrected. But I wanted to bring that to your attention.
Yes,
as we
sir,
talk about
Council
Windsor
Member.
Mill Road acquisitions.
Right, we do want to look at it, and Ms. Thomas and I will follow up because this is one of the remaining outstanding properties that we have to finish. We're down to the last, what is the last 10?
Or less now. I think we have 4 more contracts that will come before us that are over 25,000.
Right.
Yes. I think that's
But
the
we
least.
do want to make sure that we are utilizing the right formula for the property owner. And if I can get the name of the individual, we can go back to make sure we're using commercial versus residential. That's not a problem at all.
Sure, he sent me an email yesterday, and so I'm looking for it, but I'll tell you the name and property address off.
Sure.
Thank
We'll
you.
be happy to work on it because we're trying to get to the final few to move
Understood.
to the next part of this project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Next,
go right ahead, Mr. Thomas. Page 18.
yes. The administration is requesting approval of a contract to acquire from the state of Maryland an improved property known as the Pikesville Armory on 14.3 acres for $1. The property is located at 610 Reisterstown Road in Pikesville and is primarily zoned DR 5.5. Upon acquisition by the county, the property will be immediately transferred through a contract of sale to the Pikesville Armory Foundation Incorporated for $1 for the redevelopment of the armory.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. And Mr. Williams, would you guys like to make any comments? Okay. All right. I don't think any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, yes, thank you. I'd like to make a comment. This is a really exciting day in Pikesville and in the beautiful Second District of Baltimore County. There are thousands of residents and that are in the Second District and beyond that have worked really hard to make this happen, put in hours of volunteer time, and this is a critical benchmark into the transformation of Pikesville. We have 14 acres in our aging commercial corridor, so I think as in conversations with many of the members, we've all been trying to figure out ways to strengthen our older inner beltway commercial corridors. And this is a prime example of how to do it right. And delighted to have members of the board of the Pikesville Armory Foundation. So what's happening here is there's been a long, hard road with the state of Maryland to transfer this 14.3 acres initially to Baltimore County and then onward to the Pikesville Armory Foundation, which is a nonprofit entity. And then the Pikesville Armory Foundation, who have been stewards of the property, will continue it at this baseline, but then grow it into a transformative, the transformative redevelopment of the whole Pikesville area and beyond. And so really, really excited for all the folks that have spent countless hours, both Mr. Williams, Mr. Ginsburg are here to demonstrate that. There'll be more issues that come before the council related to the Pikesville Armory that need the council's attention, and we'll be excited to present those. And I think it's really a new day for the Reisterstown Road corridor. It's really an exciting day. I hope that someday in the near future, we can have a council meeting at the Pikesville Armory. I think that's possible, gentlemen. Yeah, that would be really cool. You know, we could show you a little bit of our neck of the woods. We all meet here, but we don't have that much of an opportunity to see each other's districts. So looking forward, this is a great day. Looking forward to an affirmative response from my colleagues, and thank you to the entire Pikesville Armory Foundation board, 1,000 Friends of Pikesville, the Pikesville Revitalization Action Plan Committee, and there's other committees. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I'm sure I have. But just a really exciting day for people that have really worked hard to make this happen. So thank you, Mr. Chair, and congratulations in a couple of days, I hope, to everyone that's involved in the redevelopment of the Pikesville Armory.
Thank you, Councilman Patoka. I can't agree with you more. I know that this is a very, very important project to that side of the county, especially Pikesville. The property itself is a tremendous opportunity for transformation to take place in that area. And to the members of the board here and everybody else that's been involved, clearly it's going to make a big difference in the whole west side of Baltimore County, as well as, folks from Baltimore City can come up there as well. And, we look forward to the project moving forward. I know you worked hard, you raised millions of dollars, and, it'll be exciting to see the property transferred and continue to transform.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Could I just say, I want to thank the administration because the administration has put up $5 million of the 15 million that have been put together as to date. But really, it's not an insignificant amount of money. Appreciate the county executive's commitment to the Pikesville Armory. And I just want to share with Councilman Marks. Do you know, Councilman Marks, that the Pikesville Armory is only about a quarter mile from the Milford Mill Metro Station? So that sounds like it has opportunity for transit-oriented development. Councilman Marks?
My mother went to Milford Mill High School.
Oh, wow.
You didn't know that, did you?
I did not. Well, I went to
Yes.
Woodlawn, so they were our rivals, but today we're all friends.
There we go.
Thanks.
Good. And good job, Councilman. I know you worked very hard on this.
Thank you.
Any additional questions, comments? Ms. Thomas, do you have, I guess that's it.
Yes, that is
Thank
it
you
for
very
me.
much.
Thank
And
you.
Ms. Rogers, do you want to speak on behalf of Ms. Medina in terms of the installation and maintenance of 3 vending machines?
Yes, sir, Councilman. Well, Mr.
Sure.
Chair, I'm happy to do so in Ms. Medina's absence, as we did review this transaction during our internal review of contracts before they come up. So I feel confident I can speak on her behalf. The administration is requesting approval of a lease for Pro Vending Services, Inc. to provide 3 vending machines, high-capacity glass front drink machine, general merchandiser, and multi-select coffee, tea, hot chocolate for the Baltimore County Circuit Court's jury assembly area. The lease commences upon council approval and continues for 5 years. Pro Vending Services will install, service, clean, and maintain the vending machines at no cost to the county and will receive all sales proceeds in return. A little background on this issue. This particular vending company does indeed service the courthouse now, but there are no accessible vending machines to where jurors wait. Having been there myself, there is absolutely nowhere in that building to get a cup of coffee. And so we have rehabbed the vending area, the waiting area. And this was like one of the #1 requests from citizen jurors, was a place to get a beverage or a snack, and in the morning, a cup of coffee. So this will help to support the needs of jurors who are waiting to be selected for trials.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers. I appreciate it very much. I know that I've often, I won't go into any detail today, but I've often advocated for us to reimagine that whole process. Instead of having people sitting around waiting, they can enjoy Towson and be back within a certain period of time. We know they're going to show up. After all, they showed up in the morning, so why wouldn't they show up when we call them? But that's a different thing. We'll talk about that another day. Let's move on to page 20. Ms. Raleigh.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. The administration is requesting approval of 3 professional organizing and restoration contracts for fiscal year 2024 within our senior home safety program. These contracts will provide heavy-duty cleaning and or restoration or remediation services to county older adults who are deemed eligible. For the most part, we're talking about hoarding situations that tend to lead to evictions or the inability to make needed repairs to properties. We expect to serve 20 to 30 individuals. The estimated costs for all contracts are based on the estimated number of clients, anticipated services, and the contracted pay rate. The contract is originally for 1 year with an option for 4 one-year renewals, dependent upon continued federal, state, or other grant funding. This was a non-competitive solicitation, as our goal is always to provide a list of approved vendors from which the clients can select. Each of these provides a very specialized service, and all the companies who responded were found to be qualified to conduct business with Baltimore County.
Okay, Ms. Riley, let me see here. Are there any questions or comments from the members? I have a note here. Indicating that some of the proposed rates appear to be high. How will the department seek to obtain better rates from additional vendors to ensure that the best use of taxpayer dollars are being carried out?
Because this was a non-competitive solicitation, we're always open to accepting more vendors. We just had to have a starting and an ending period in order to get started. So we are open to accepting more vendors. This is a little more specialized than a typical cleaning because of the hazmat qualifications and the things that they come across in hoarding situations. But we'll continue to look for more. Each job is maxed at $5,000 per client as well. So we won't be spending any more than that per client.
Okay, thank you. Any additional
Chair, I
questions?
had
comments?
one
Yes.
quick question for Director Riley.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Director Riley. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good seeing you. Question, how would someone go about, how would these services, I understand what they do, but how, if we had a situation where I have one in Towson right now was a fire and we have a hoarder there and they're not cleaning the house out and they're elderly, is that something that we could potentially refer?
Absolutely. You can refer any cases like that to our Maryland Access Point, which is our triaging, and then we'll do an assessment to figure out if they meet the financial criteria to be eligible for the service.
Okay.
And if they don't, we'll still try and assist them to make sure that the house is habitable. And we also have our home improvement program, so they may be eligible for some of those services as well.
Do you anticipate that you might get some of these through code enforcement or?
Absolutely. We work very closely with code enforcement, so they'll notify us of any individual situations that they may have cited, and they know that it's an older adult resident. They will contact us and we'll go out and do an assessment.
Okay. Is there any psychological, with hoarders, often there's a mental health component to it?
Most definitely. So this is a wraparound service that we're working with the Department of Health and Social Services as well. So we can access mental health services through the health department, and then any other services that may be necessary we'll follow up with.
Okay, thank you.
And those referrals, by the way, can come from Health and Social Services as well, not just the Department of Aging. We'll accept their referrals too.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Any additional questions, comments? And next, we'll move on to page 24. Mr. Richardson?
Good afternoon, Chairman Jones and members of the council. Today, the administration is seeking your approval for amendments of 2 contracts for our shelter operations. First amendment is for St. Vincent de Paul of Baltimore to extend through June of 2024. The total expenditure of that extension for St. Vincent de Paul would be $872,963. And the second amendment is for the Community Assistance Network for the operation of our shelter services. And that would be an extension for $2,794,890. The 2 operators operate the shelters within the Baltimore County. Community Assistance Network operates 3 shelters. including the Eastern Family Resource Center, which includes our Women and Family Shelter, Men's Shelter, and Family Transitional Shelter, and also our West Side Men's Shelter in Catonsville. And St. Vincent de Paul currently operates the Hannah Moore Shelter in Reicherstown. And their services include case management, transportation, employment services, and 3 meals as far as all shelter operations. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Any questions or comments from the members? Hearing none, we will move on. Thank you very much, Mr. Richardson. We'll move on to page 29, Ms. Deb Schindel.
Good evening, Councilman Chair and members of the council. The administration is requesting an approval of a purchase order with Lothorian LLC in the amount of $907,545 for pool repairs and renovation of the Dundalk Y Swim Center. I'd like to provide a little background. We chose Lothorian to actually complete the repair on this pool for their experience and the best quality. In the recent past, actually, we had numerous repairs that were actually done, what I would call patchwork throughout the pool itself, and by various pool companies. We determined at one point that it would be the best interest if we actually replaced the entire pool, because we were spending so much money in chasing these one-off repairs. So that's when we went ahead and employed JMT, which is an architectural firm, to start the design of a completely new pool. At that time, they put together their team, and Lothorian was actually a pool company that they chose for their experience in their knowledge of this particular pool. When they did that, they went through and started investigating, and they came back to the county, JMT and Lothorian, and recommended that we actually not replace this pool. They said, based on their experience, they have repaired and done some renovations in other pools in the communities along this corridor in this area, and that they actually could we actually, as a county, could save money and time if we did a repair, and we could then, this repair would actually last for many, many years. It was not like we were doing a minor repair. So during the study period, we were looking at, we did a full investigation. We took tiles off all of the walls of this pool. We did some concrete borings to make sure where we were losing, and we were doing a ton of investigation. We found that this repair, as they were designing, was actually much more complicated than we originally decided. So the county made the decision that we would break off the pool repairs themselves and actually go through Lothorian, because of their experience and all the extensive work they did during the investigation, to go ahead and do a sole source contract with them for the repairs, and the other parts of this scope of work project that we were getting done at the same time would then be done through a competitive bid with DPWT. At the time that we actually got the estimate for just the pool repairs from Foria, which is an estimating firm, they were estimating the repairs to cost $1.9 million for just the pool repair. When we received the quote by Lothorian, that's when they gave us the $907,545 $1,000 for the pool repair. I do want to mention, and I know, Councilman, you probably have heard, this pool has been closed for 2 years, more than 2, almost 3 years. And we have been diligently trying to find the best solution for this community to get this pool back up and running, get the Y operating, and have the community be able to use and access this pool. In order to do so, we felt that this was the best route to go to ensure the longevity of the pool itself and not have to do a major renovation in the next few years. And that then we could do some enhancements with the other project, get this thing back up and have the community begin to use it. So that is why we're asking your permission and consideration for this contract.
Ms.
Mr.
Rogers?
Chair?
Sorry. Ms. Rogers?
Councilman Jones, thank you. I wanted to reiterate the pieces of this. We know there have been multiple attempts to try to get this pool back online, but for a community to be without such a valuable resource for almost 3 years for us is a challenge, because we are trying to get the pool back online, but have to go, but not, this group has the expertise and the experience, and to have to go back out and start all over again as far as doing a RFP or another kind of solicitation, which we know how long that takes, pushes us further and further back. So that's why we're kindly requesting. We believe that this meets the justification of a sole source, given the work that the individual contractor has done with us. We've spent money trying to repair it. They have come in with a lower bid than the estimate we received, and we kindly request your support so we can help this community get this pool back online. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Councilman Crandall?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Schindel, Ms. Rogers, I just want to thank the administration for their perseverance on this. This is one of those times, I was trying to think of an appropriate sort of analogy, and it's sort of like you go to replace a board on your wooden deck, a deck board, and then you pull the deck board up and you discover that termites have eaten the cross tie, and they've eaten the other post across the way. And so, this has been quite a saga. I think the community has been relatively patient in knowing that the sort of patchwork repairs were not working. And I think the community was understanding that the county was undertaking this sort of new approach and really studying what needed to be done. And so again, just I want to thank all those involved in the administration that have gotten to this point, and hopefully we can get this pool back online sooner rather than later. So thank you very much. Appreciate the effort.
Mr.
Thank you,
Chair.
Councilman Crandall. Councilman Katz?
Yes. Did I hear, Deborah, did you say that the original estimate was 1.9 million to renovate or fix the pool? And we are now talking about a bid of 904,000 for something that was estimated to be 1.9?
It was 1,909,000.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said 900,000.
Almost close to 1.
Right, but the second bid is lower. I mean,
Right.
with the second estimate is lower, which we wanted to go with.
I'm thinking the difference between 1.9 million and 900 is quite a. Had you ever priced the cost of a new pool, or?
Yes, actually, that's how we started. When we were trying to do repairs, I went in the route of, let's look at replacing this whole thing. And we would have had to remove the exterior walls of this building and prop the roof up in order, because it's an interior pool and the way it's embedded into the structure. And That's when Lothorian came back and said, you don't need to do that. We believe this is a better route rather than spending, I do believe, 5 million up to 7 million at that time. They said, we have done this and we can get you to where you need to be and
How-
much cheaper.
Okay, how long do we expect this renovated or fixed pool to last then?
The company has told us with other than minor things you have crop up, this thing could last another 50 years after this, all of this work.
15 or
50.
Okay.
50.
You have
So
that
I
in
will be
writing?
retired, but yes, sir, 50 years.
Do you have it in writing?
I know, right? Actually, I do have it in minutes that they did say 35 to 50 years this would last.
So are they guaranteed?
They won't guarantee it quite that long, but this pool is over 50 years old.
How long are they guaranteeing that?
I will have to go back and check. Let me check on that. Yeah.
I mean, I would hate to invest in something and then find out that, 2 years from now you have to spend more money.
Yeah. This project also is not just the interior of the pool, it is all of the pumps and it is a boiler that heats the pool. So all of those components, and that's what makes this unique, all of those components are also getting replaced at the same time.
Right. Because sometimes it just pays to build something new instead of taking the old and renovating or fixing it up. And
Yeah, that's where I was at, but then it
Yeah.
turns out it actually was a good deal for us to
have to
do
take
what we needed to do.
walls down and prop up the roof. Wow.
Yeah, it was massive, the way it's installed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions or comments? Councilman Patoka?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This may be a question for Ms. Schindel or perhaps Mr. Reed. Did this pool appear as a line item in the capital budget? And if so, what year was that? Or was it grouped in?
I
with-
do believe it is an individual, let me check for you, but I do believe it was something that we carried into knowing we would have to budget for it in FY '24, but let me check for you.
But I don't mean grouped into a Rec and Parks bulk account, but a specific line item.
I do believe it had its own line item, but I will check for you.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
and this is basically, we are landlords, so remember, this is a Y, the Y rents it from us.
Because something happened between fiscal 2007 and fiscal 2008, probably before many of us were here, where we did fewer and fewer line item capital projects and things got bulked together between 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
Just want to check on that.
Mr. Chairman, be
Ms. Rogers?
Councilmember Patoka, I can't speak for anything before 2019, but we have made it very clear that when we can identify a project, we know upfront about that project, we like to give it its own line item as a project, because in that way we can follow it. It's transparent. The community can see it, especially when we put out the capital project book. So it is our position as an administration to put as many things as separate line items. Now, we do keep, and we've talked about this before, a contingency line item, because things happen along the way, in the year, that we have to have some money available when stuff happens, so that we could indeed, work on those projects and then identify and put money into a line item to address it. That's how we've been operating to the best that we could. But yes, when we got here, there were a lot of things that were bulked, bundled into these bulk categories, but we wanted to decouple them to keep ourselves straight on what projects we're working on and what we have funded.
And as a matter of transparency, which has been said.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And Councilman, if you go to the end of our budget documents in Exhibit A, we have all projects by councilmanic district separately outlined out, so you can get individual line items per
I know
capital budget.
that, but typically, you'd want to see a project number and a project name, especially if it's $1 million project that's to itself, rather than in an appendix at the back of the book. I mean, there's a couple ways to do it, but that's one of the ways to do it.
The team will attest. We've talked about that because I think it's important, particularly when people from the community ask us, well, we talked about it, but where is it?
Correct,
So we
yes.
did move to that. We also moved to being able to be able to see cap projects based on your own jurisdictions,
Okay.
each of the jurisdictions.
Thank you.
Chair, I had one question.
Yes,
Two
Councilman
questions.
Nuttall.
Chief Schindel, right? Chief, not director, chief. Deb.
Call me anything.
So this has been a YMCA for 50 years, is that correct?
No, actually,
You said the pool's 50 years old?
the pool's 50-some years old. I don't know when the contract with the YMCA occurred, when it started, and I don't know any history of who used it or who was using it prior. I'd have to look into that for you.
Okay, so
I know that's a lease with the Rec and Parks programming.
Okay, does the Y maintain the pool or do we maintain?
We maintain the
So
pool.
we deal with the chlorine and the pumps and.
We deal with the
Or are we
pumps.
replacing them and then they're going to maintain it and,
So they maintain the day-to-day operation of the pool as part of the lease, meaning they put the chlorine in, they add the water, but any maintenance of pumps that go out or anything like that, that is part of the county's responsibility currently.
okay, but if they don't do the right chlorine mix and all that and it destroys the pump, that's our problem?
We have a very good relationship with them, that if we think they are experiencing something, but yes, we are responsible for the pump, but we do have a good relationship with them
Okay.
because
But,
they do manage other
and,
pools.
and is there some reason why the YMCA doesn't run this and operate it on their own? Like other YMCAs or the YMCA? Why are we in the YMCA business?
I can't answer that because I was not part of that negotiation that was done previous years and previous directors of Rec and Parks.
Do you know that, Chair? Or-
It's the same thing in Randallstown.
Yeah. that's what I was gonna
Randall's
say.
Town's the same way, yes.
Same.
Mhm.
We own it.
All right.
I think the lease is like 10. Okay, any additional questions or comments for Ms. Schindel? Let's see, moving right along, Ms. Schindel, where are we now? Page 30, we're at 33?
The administration is requesting an approval of an amendment to a contract with Lighting Maintenance, Inc. to provide an on-call athletic field, parking lots, and exterior lighting maintenance and service throughout Baltimore County. But currently, there is only $52,986.35 on the not to exceed that is available. The total compensation increase would be from $1,479,211 to $4,500,000 upon the council approval. This would provide $3,020,789 increase. This was a competitive bid. There is still a 30% MBE on this contract. The reason that we are asking for this increase is we've experienced an issue at Eastern Regional Park with the lighting at the athletic field where we had an incident where one of the poles actually fell onto the athletic field. We proactively X-rayed the rest of the poles and immediately took them down as an emergency. And now we are in the process of needing to use this contract to reinstall all of them and ensure that they are properly installed so that we do not have any further issues at this site.
Ounce of prevention is a pound of cure. Thank you, Ms. Schindel. Any questions or comments from the members?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Marks?
just want to thank Ms. Schindel and her team for taking care of this.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Moving right along, Ms. Schindel, page 37.
I do want to recognize I have our partner here with us, Deputy Director Lawrence Richardson. He is part of this in case you have any questions about this next one. The administration is requesting approval of a lease with St. John's Property, Inc. to relocate the Baltimore County Health Department Women's and Infant Children Program. The Health Department currently leases a space at Chartley Shopping Center for its WIC program. The current lease is set to expire October 30th of 2023. However, the landlord has agreed to allow the county to stay in a holdover until January 31st of 24. The current landlord needed this location for future needs and is not willing to renew our existing lease at this location. The current landlord, we worked with him and he could not meet our space needs and build out requirements. And so we went out and had to procure another location. This location is at 104-106 Business Center Drive, which was selected because it is less than 1.5 miles from the current location, and which will allow the continuation of services with very minimal inconvenience and has public transportation. This new space is a little larger. It's 3,900 square feet compared to the previous 2,300 square feet. The larger space will better accommodate the heavy volume of clients at Tartley locations. The rent per square foot is $15 a square foot, where we are right now is $14.98. So it's very comparable. We are doing a build out. St. John's is going to give us 5 months free rent and also provide a credit of $97,500, which is approximately $25 a square foot for the build out. So we are requesting your approval of this lease so that we can move forward, and the county will then spend only $114,081 for the actual construction.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Shendo, and certainly appreciate the administration's work on this, especially in keeping it as close as possible to the prior location. I think that's very important. Especially knowing that, you know, a lot of times the most vulnerable people are coming for those services, women in need of care. And so it's good that it's in the same community.
And a lot of strollers.
Yep, absolutely. Any additional questions or comments from the members? All right, that'll do it for today. See everybody next week. Everybody be safe. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.